But the problem is that for a lot of folks I see, they tell me that the foods I'm telling them to eat are boring. They're boring. I need variety. It's so boring. It's not fun like my pizza and burgers and French fries and chips and all this other stuff. I wanted to tell you something kind of cool that I was thinking about. Well, I think it's cool, but it was in my brain. So in the morning, I'm really lucky that where my boot camp is right next to a field where there's horses grazing. Okay, so I was looking at these horses and I was thinking about the fact that every single day I see them eating the same thing, and it's grass. Every day, same thing. And they are buff. Like, they are lean, low body fat, muscular, all those muscles built off of grass, getting the protein they need. And I was just thinking about how I remember as a kid, I was allowed to give sugar cubes to this horse sometimes when I was in camp. And they said, every once in a while, give a horse a sugar cube. And I gave the horse a sugar cube, and the horse freaking loved it. The horse, just nuzzled it right up, and he was just jumping around, having a good time, was really happy. And I was thinking today, I bet, right now, the horses are not bored with their diet. They, every day, are just going right to it and eating grass all day long like they've always done, like they're meant to do. And I was thinking, what if I put a pile of sugar cubes down in the field? I wonder what would happen. I know what would happen. They would eat the sugar cubes. They would eat all the sugar cubes. What if I gave them a choice every day between sugar cubes and grass? My prediction is that all of these horses would stop eating grass and would switch over to eating nothing but sugar cubes, and they would become fat and diabetic and disabled and sick. That's my prediction. And that's really what we've done to ourselves, right? We have a diet we were meant to have. We are from this earth, unless you're an alien, maybe you're an alien, but I'm from this earth. I'm assuming you're from this earth. And on this earth, there are the animals like us that are here, and then the food that feeds the animals is also here, right? And so when you look at the earth, it's mostly green, right? It's mostly leaves, it's mostly green. Then there's some fruit trees, but they're not everywhere. It's not like covered in fruit trees, although some of you would love it to be, right? But we got mostly green, we got some fruit trees, the occasional nut tree. Now, the nuts are pretty hard to get. I watched a movie once of chimpanzees trying to eat nuts, and they were working all day with the rocks, and they had to work hard to get one nut. It's not like they couldn't get like a container or roast it, right? But anyway, that's what's here on this earth. And when we eat the things that are here on this earth, when we eat the vegetables and the fruits, the things that grow from the earth, we get healthier, right? I teach that every day. You can access that information for free. You don't even have to sit here this hour with me, right? When we eat the foods we're meant to eat, our health goes through the roof. When we eat the wrong things, our health goes down, right? That's simple. Everybody understands that, right? But the problem is that for a lot of folks I see, they tell me that the foods I'm telling them to eat are boring. They're boring. I need variety. It's so boring. I don't want to eat like a rabbit or like a cow or, like a human's meant to eat. It's just so boring. It's not fun like my pizza and burgers and French fries and chips and all this other stuff. And I realized looking at the horses that food is supposed to be boring. Like every other animal on the planet eats the same thing every day. They just eat their food every day forever, and they don't even think about it. But humans, we are a clever species, and we're clever to our own detriment in a lot of cases. And we've figured out how to live off the sugar cubes. We have used chemicals to create highly addictive substances. I call them food-like substances. They're not food. All the chips, all the stuff with the chemicals, all the stuff that never goes bad. We've invented all of these things. We've hijacked the reward pathway of our brains. That reward pathway was designed to reinforce things that give us life. So eating, sexual reproduction, things like that. We're supposed to get a reward pathway for that. But we've hijacked it so much that the things that we're not supposed to eat that we have now become accustomed to, so all the processed junk, the animal products all the time, every meal, dairy, like the breast milk of another species, like we've introduced all these things that give us tons of reward pathway, dopamine in our brains, that we can't even look at the food we were meant to eat without going, oh, that just looks boring, that looks plain. But the key is your food is not supposed to be your entertainment. It's supposed to nourish you, right? So it is the reason for most people why this is hard. The nutrition is freaking simple. I teach it all the time. It is so simple, right? It is simple. I'm like, eat your vegetables, eat your omega-3s, drink your water. It is simple, 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 okay? But it's not easy. Why? Because you're addicted to the other stuff. That reward pathway finds the food that works for you to be boring. If a horse has been on sugar cubes for 5 years and you offer him hay, he's not going to want it. And so I think it's a really important thing to just consciously recognize that right now, the things that make you heal might be completely unappealing. I have someone in my group right now who's struggling with that, and we're trying to help her that she just doesn't like raw vegetables. Even though it's what her body needs, it's like, whoa, I don't even want to look at it. And so we're trying to work with her on pushing past the mental block to get to what you need to do to survive. Like sometimes we have to do things we don't like to survive and to get our health back. But it's a common problem. That's why people do things like my group, so we can work with them every day to help them figure out what's blocking them and help them get past it so they can get to the life they want, so they could just eat simply again and be able to get their health back. So I just was thinking about it, and you know, the only animals that become, you know, fat are the animals that humans take care of, really, right? I mean, you don't see in nature like a lion walking around obese or a rabbit obese, you know, or anything like that. The animals that humans feed are the ones that get obese. There's a feral cat that lives over by the horses, but he is obese because he's not just hunting on his own. He goes house to house and gets fed all the treats from people that live nearby, right? So it's just an important thing to realize and to be consciously aware of, that when you're trying to uncouple yourself from the foods that got you sick, it is difficult, not just because of habit, not because of willpower, but because of physical addiction. And it's why I teach people how to add self-care into your life. And under self-care, I'm not talking about brushing your teeth. I'm talking about activities that make you happy, because you need to replace the benefit that you're getting from that reward pathway with something else. You need to have fun. You need to be happy, because otherwise your brain will always take you back to what was giving it those rewards to begin with. So that is the method behind what I do, right? The Goodbye Autoimmune Disease Protocol is in my book, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease. I talk about it all the time. The emotional part is so important for a lot of people. You know, there are some people who could read Goodbye Lupus and just go, yeah, I'll do that. And they don't have food addiction and they're able to do it. Or they're so motivated because they're dying or their organs are failing that it overrides their addictive feelings and they're able to keep going. But for other folks, they need that emotional work. So it's something to be aware of. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're addicted. And still, the right food for you is the stuff that's growing from the planet, okay? So anyway, I just wanted to give you, that's what I think about when I work out. What do you think about when you work out?